two very significant moves occurred today for Toronto FC. One player outgoing and one very big player incoming. Liam Fraser is out and Kemar Lawrence is in. Starting things off with the first move today, Liam Fraser. Today marks the end of a promising era for TFC, although not a very large one. Liam Fraser has been loaned out to the Columbus Crew for the remainder of the 2021 season in return for $50,000 of general allocation money. Fraser was the first of this generation of TFC players coming up from the academy. In 2018, it was the start of him, Ayo Akinola, Noble Okello following suit quickly, Jacob Schaffelberg following quickly. It was the beginning of the TFC Academy actually being used to produce first team players, and many first team players all at the same time. And Liam Fraser was at the forefront of that. There was a lot of hype around Liam Fraser when he broke into the first team in 2018, and he played 12 games in 2018. People thought in 2019 he might break out and become a significant contributor for the first team, and he only played in 11 games in 2019. But at the end of 2019, he had that huge game against US in the CONCACAF Nations League at BMO Field, where Mark-Anthony Kaye gets injured early on in the first half. Liam Fraser has to get subbed on at like the 14th minute to play against guys like Christian Pulisic, and he was excellent in that game. And just that one match against the US in 2019 in the Nations League just had so much more hype onto this kid. Everyone thought he was going to be a huge contributor for TFC going forward, because there were people, and me included, who were saying that he was the Michael Bradley replacement, that he was going to fill Michael Bradley's shoes as Toronto FC's CDM rock in the center of defensive midfield. And then before the start of the 2020 season, we hear that Michael Bradley is getting surgery and is going to be out long term, and we think this is it. This is where Liam Fraser is going to take Michael Bradley's spot. He's going to get a ton of play time in 2020, and he's just going to be a regular for the TFC first team from here on out. And then I would say COVID was disaster for Liam Fraser, but the season started. First game, he's not starting. Second game comes around, the home opener against NYCFC. He still doesn't start. And then COVID hits. And when MLS restarts in July at the MLS's back tournament, Michael Bradley is healthy and back in the lineup, and Liam Fraser never gets a chance to be a regular starter for TFC in 2020. He does make 14 appearances in 2020 for TFC, but near the end of the season, even more disaster for Fraser as a new, younger, 18-year-old Ralph Priso comes up from the TFC Academy and is absolutely excellent. And Liam Fraser goes from being the number 3 TFC lower center midfielder behind Bradley and Delgado to start the season to, at the end of the season, now both Azorio and Ralph Priso are playing those lower central defensive midfielder positions ahead of Liam Fraser. And all of a sudden, all the hype surrounding Liam Fraser, all the excitement around him is gone, and it's shifted to the new hot young kid, Ralph Priso. Start of this season comes, new coach. You think there might be a bit of a change for Liam Fraser, but Priso is still here, and Noble Okello, fresh off a loan from HB Kogi, comes in and also passes Liam Fraser on the depth chart. And Fraser is in a position now where the once heralded future of Toronto FC center midfielder has been passed on the depth chart by two younger, more promising young players. And so, with no room for him to play in the TFC lineup and him needing to get out and find play minutes elsewhere, he has been loaned out to the Columbus Crew. And his contract ends at the end of the season, so this seems like the end of Liam Fraser at Toronto FC. Now, for Fraser, the Columbus Crew is a very interesting place for him to go to, because he's not getting minutes at Toronto FC. So now he's going to the defending MLS Cup champions, thinking, I guess people think he'll get minutes there. I don't think Columbus Crew is the best spot for him. I think he's just going to end up in the exact same sort of scenario that he is in Toronto and not be playing that much. The last former TFC Academy Canadian who went to the Columbus Crew was Jordan Hamilton, which was in the Patrick Mullins trade. And that worked out, yeah. I guess you can't say he didn't play. He just didn't really play, and now he's in USL. So for Liam Fraser, he needs minutes, and I'm not sure he's going to get them in Columbus. Columbus is a very good team in MLS, probably better than Toronto FC is right now. And so for him to go from Toronto FC, where he's not playing, to another quality team in MLS in Columbus Crew, I just don't see the minutes falling to him. So I wish Liam Fraser the best of luck in Columbus. I'm really sad that things didn't work out for him here in Toronto. There was just so much hype around him in 2018, 2019. And honestly, the emergence of Ralph Priso really just killed Liam Fraser's chance of being a legendary long-term player for Toronto FC. But hopefully in Columbus he can get playtime, because he needs playtime. If he gets any regular playtime, I think he can really solidify himself as a regular, at least contributor in MLS. I don't think he's going to be a star or anything. I think he's a solid player for MLS. It just is the matter of getting playtime, which I don't see him getting in Columbus as much as I wish he could. But as far as the loan out of Liam Fraser goes, we weren't really going to use him this season. Akello and Priso are both far ahead of him on the depth chart. They both need minutes, as they're younger players who have very high ceilings, and it's very exciting to see how they're going to turn out. And they just don't need Liam Fraser taking minutes away from them right now. So for TFC, giving away a player who wasn't really going to play for you this season that much, and you get in $50,000 in GAM, which is a pretty solid deal. What that GAM was used for leads into the next part of what happened today for TFC. Kemar Lawrence, the 28-year-old Jamaican international left back with 60 career appearances for the Jamaican national team. Currently plays for Anderlecht in the Belgian Pro League, and had played in MLS for 5 seasons with the New York Red Bulls, winning 2 Supporter Shields and being named to the MLS Best 11 in 2018. This is a guy who, when he was in MLS, was one of the best left backs in MLS. And on top of that, 2017 CONCACAF Gold Cup Best 11 as well. One of the better left backs in CONCACAF, in Kemar Lawrence, is now coming to Toronto FC, and this is absolutely excellent. We knew something was coming with getting several $100,000 in general allocation money in trading away 2 of our international roster spots, and then another $50,000 coming in from the Liam Fraser move. And here we go, Kemar Lawrence, rumored transfer fee in the several hundred thousands, which that explains where all that GAM was going. And also, for those of you wondering, but we traded away 2 international roster spots, how can we take Kemar Lawrence? Back in 2018, while playing for the Red Bulls, he got his US green card, which means for MLS purposes, he counts as a domestic player. That is clutch. So we add a Jamaican international who has played 60 games for the Jamaican national team and is one of the better left backs in CONCACAF without having him take up an international roster spot. Although technically he kind of takes up 2 international roster spots because we had to trade away 2 international roster spots to get the money to keep him, but that's semantics. We desperately needed another fullback. We only had Mauro, Aro, and Larea, and as we saw in our last Champions League game, when Larea was hurt, we were forced to play Aro on the right and Mauro on the left. And honestly, Aro this season has been looking a lot better on the left than he has on the right, which is kind of weird for him. But now we had Kemar Lawrence, and we have actual 2 proper left backs in Lawrence and Mauro, and 2 proper right backs in Larea and Aro, and Kemar Lawrence is just a fantastic talent. Great at getting forward on the left side, getting crosses in, can score a couple of goals. Very fast, good at pushing forward, good at making the overlapping runs. Kind of think a Richie Larea type player, but on the left side, and that's what you got in Kemar Lawrence. It's a very, very solid player. Honestly, quite similar to a younger Justin Mauro, so that's actually the type of player that has already succeeded in Toronto FC. So hopefully he can thrive at Toronto FC like Justin Mauro used to, like Richie Larea has been, because just watching how Richie Larea plays, you know that Kemar Lawrence plays a type of game that works very well for Toronto FC. And also now we have 4 real quality left backs. If one of Aro or Larea goes down, we're not screwed, because Aro, Larea, and Lawrence are all probably starting fullbacks in MLS. Even Justin Mauro is a very useful rotation fullback in MLS. So that right there, begging for another fullback. I've been begging for another fullback. I've been saying we need another fullback. And this is an exceeding expectations move, going out and getting a 2 years removed from being a MLS best 11 left back in Kemar Lawrence. Just what a transfer, what a move for Ali Curtis. And this coming in the same week, we just got Jefferson Soteldo. In basically the span of a week, TFC has gone from what really are they to, okay, this is looking like a pretty good team that has a chance of going on a run and winning an MLS Cup, or at least challenging for an MLS Cup. The one issue with Lawrence, really like Soteldo, is for this year with the incredibly cramped international schedule due to everything last year getting pushed way back because of COVID, him being a regular for the Jamaican national team going into the Gold Cup, going into World Cup qualifiers, means that we're probably going to be missing him quite a bit throughout the summer in July and then September World Cup qualifiers and whatnot. But the guys who he had who are existing on the way fullbacks were pretty solid, so missing him for a few games here and there because of internationals isn't a huge deal. It's what he adds for the whole season and especially for playoffs when MLS does break for international breaks. He's just going to be a huge influence, gives another option for this team, another option defensively, and another fullback who can influence the play going forward and influence the attack, which is so useful for Toronto FC and makes us that much more dangerous. So to recap for today, Liam Fraser move, solid move for TFC to dump a player who we weren't really going to use. Hopefully Fraser, fingers crossed for him, gets some play time in Columbus, although I'm not that hopeful about it. And Kemar Lawrence, super excited for this player. Probably one of the better non-designated player signings TFC has made in quite a while. And I'm just super excited to see how he turns out for Toronto FC. He should be a fantastic addition to this team on the left side. So that does it for this video. If you liked it, hit like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Link is down below in the description. And I will see you next time.